We are going to continue with this problem. I was still telling you that the common ratio is this. So substitute back. This is going to be equal to. There is a negative outside. Negative. First term is 1. I've put the negative outside. So the first term is now 1. The first term is 1. Common ratio is this. So where there is R, we are going to put negative z minus 1. R squared, we are going to square this thing to get a positive z minus 1 squared, r power 3, so that it will be a negative z minus 1 to the 3 plus. That is my expansion. What next? What next now? So this is equal to negative 1 over z. Negative 1 over z is this. Now I can put it back. My function f of z, which is negative 1 over z, then plus 1 over z minus 1. This is equal to negative 1 minus z minus 1 plus z minus 1 squared, z minus 1 squared, then minus z minus 1 to the 3 plus, then plus 1 over z minus 1. So my function f of z is now equal to, I'm going to start with 1 over z minus 1 minus 1 multiply negative, put the negative inside, z minus 1. So this is a plus, this is a minus, z minus 1 squared, a plus. This is the required series representation. Valid for, this is valid for 0, 0 less than absolute z minus 1 less than 1. So I'm left with part D, absolute z minus 1 greater than 1. Absolute z minus 1 greater than 1. I can now rub off this because I don't need it. Right, my function f of z is equal to negative 1 over z plus 1 over z minus 1. We are going to obtain the series representation considering that domain. I can, from how I see, I think this mark is not somehow visible properly. Maybe I can change to some other type. Okay, I can change to some other type to make it somehow visible. So just as we said in the previous examples, we are obtaining this series representation about the point of singularity. So here we are going to obtain the series representation about 1. So we don't need to tamper with negative 1 over z. We don't need to tamper with 1 over z minus 1. That is already in the required form. We only need to deal with this one. Negative 1 over z. Negative 1 over z. This is equal to what? We introduce a minus 1. This is the same as negative 1 over z minus 1 plus 1. plus 1. What should I do next? Maybe write this as negative 1 over 1 plus z minus 1. 1 plus z minus 1. From there, we need this interval. So somewhere we need to introduce a fraction, 1 over z minus 1, something of that sort. So what do you think we are going to do? We are going to put something outside. We are going to put something outside. So this is the same as negative 1 over z minus 1. I'm factorizing z minus 1. So put z minus 1 outside. I'll have 1 over z minus 1 plus 1 plus 1. That's my new function. That's my new function. And this is equal to what? This is equal to negative 1 over z minus 1. 1 minus 1 minus. I'm putting the negative outside. 1 minus 1 over 1 minus z. That's what I have. Put the negative, remove the negative here outside, then we shall have 1 minus z if I put a negative outside. Put the negative outside. What next now? What next? Now we can leave this alone. Expand this. We can leave that alone. Expand the other one. Expand the other one. So negative. This is negative 1 over z. So I'm going to expand negative. Let me use this 1 over 1 minus 1 over 1 minus z. This is equal to the common ratio now. The common ratio is that R is the whole of that thing. Substitute in sum to infinity over GP. First term is 1, then plus. Common ratio is this. First term is 1 plus 1 over 1 minus z plus 1 over 1 minus z squared plus. Now I have this. I can substitute it back here. So negative 1 over z, which is negative 1 over z minus 1 multiplied with 1 minus 1 over 1 minus z. This is equal to negative 1 over z minus 1 times the expansion of this fraction here, 1 over. There is a 1 over the expansion of this is this here. This is equal to 1 plus 1 over 1 minus z plus 1 over 1 minus z squared plus. So we know that this series represent this GP here, sum to infinity of a GP is valid for absolute R less than 1. R is this. So this is valid for absolute 1 over 1 minus Z less than 1. So this is 1 over 1 minus Z absolute less than 1, implying that 1 minus Z absolute. Absolute. This is the same as Z minus 1 greater than 1. This term here, bring it here. Do some algebra. Try to cross multiply. We shall get this. 1 minus Z absolute is the same as Z minus 1. What next now? What next? I can substitute back in my function. So f of Z was negative 1 over Z plus 1 over Z minus 1. Negative 1 over Z is here. 1 over Z minus 1, that we say that we shouldn't tamper with that. So negative 1 over Z is negative 1 over Z minus 1, 1 n plus 1 over 1 minus Z, 1 minus Z, 1 minus Z, then plus 1 minus Z plus what? Plus 1 minus Z squared, 1 minus Z squared, then plus 1 over Z minus 1. Z minus 1. What should we do next? Oh, we simplify this thing. How are we going to simplify it? I can start by writing this. So this is equal to 1 over Z minus 1, this last term, followed by, you expand this. Expand, we shall have negative 1 over Z minus 1, negative 1 over Z minus 1. Open brackets, negative 1. You need to be careful. 1 over 1 minus Z. 1. I'm multiplying this with this, so that is a negative. Then multiplied with Z minus 1. And I'm multiplying this with this. That is still a negative. Negative 1 over 1 minus Z squared, Z minus 1 plus. This is equal to, so this cancels out with that. Here now we are going to remove a negative. I can remove a negative from this. So if I put a negative outside, then that negative will divide that to now have a positive. So this is 1 over Z minus 1 squared. Same applies to this. How am I going to deal with this? But this is the same thing. If I'm having 1 minus Z squared, the whole of this, it's the same thing if I start with Z. Observe that 4 minus 6 squared is the same as 6 minus 4 squared. So this is the same as negative 1 over z minus 1, z minus 1 squared, then multiplied with this. So that is power 3. Then plus the other terms. I think that will be plus 1 over z minus 1 to the 4 minus 1. So that is the series representation. This series representation is valid for absolute z minus 1 greater than 1. So in the next session we are going to look at the I can observe here my camera, my mark is not somehow visible, but you kindly forgive me that note. I'm going to try to get some good markers.